And live. Hi, everyone. Good morning from sunny Jamaica. It is a pleasure to be here with you today, and I hope you're here with me. Now, teachers, I know this was an off scheduled interview. Why? Because we have our lovely guest coming all the way from UK. And you know the time difference, right? We had to accommodate him because of the time. But I hope that you are here ready to learn more about how you can get some jobs in the UK. So come on in, guys. Put your name in the comment box. You know the drill. Put where you're streaming from. Let me know where across the waters you're coming in from. We've had people in the past from Australia, from Russia, from New Zealand, and even in Europe. But we're focusing now on Caribbean teachers. So get in, get in, get in. We are ready to go to talk to Mr. Matt Brown. He is here today. So today we'll be talking about how to get jobs in the UK. We'll be asking a little bit more questions on what kind of teachers he's looking for and all that jazz. Remember to put your questions in the comment box as we speak. We'll go through those questions. And remember, if you're streaming from YouTube, like and subscribe. And of course, if you're on Facebook with us, share this video so that the other teachers can get a chance to know what's going on and get opportunities, right? Because that's what we're here for, opportunities in 2021. So no matter what you feel about the coronavirus, that will not get us down. We are pumped, ready to go because we know opportunities are in store. So let me now take on Mr. Brown on platform. Mr. Brown is the founder and director of I Can Teach UK. So, hi.
Hello,
Welcome,
hello.
welcome.
Thank you. What a nice welcome that was. So yeah, I enjoyed that introduction. That was very yeah, it certainly got me ready for the interview. That's good.
But you know, here in Jamaica, we don't do anything ordinary. We're always pumped up and ready to go.
Hey, and
Full
that's
of
great. That's
life.
what.
All right.
Yeah,
So let me say
perfect.
hi to Candice Morgan, Simonette Hibbert. Hi, guys. Everybody else, put in your name, put in where you're streaming from. Say hi to us. Let us know that you're here and you're engaging with us. And also let me know if you can see us clearly and hear us clearly, because you know how it is, the internet connection. All right. So, Matt, the first thing I am going to do is give you the floor,
Yes.
and I'm going to ask you to tell everyone about yourself.
So, well, as you've kindly introduced me there correctly. So, my name's Matt Brown, and I am one of the founders of I Can Teach UK. So, based here in not quite as sunny as Jamaica, but today it's the sunshine. It's a sunny England today, and yeah, our organisation we work with teachers from all around the world to find teaching positions in the UK, and we do a big focus on that, and a big drive on that is for Jamaican teachers. So yeah, that's me, and a little bit about what our company does.
Hear that? Did you hear he just dropped in that he's looking for Jamaican teachers? Hello.
Yes.
All right. All right. So the second question is, how did you get involved in this recruiting part of the industry? You know, you have the teaching, learning, and research.
Yeah.
But you're in the recruiting part. How did you get involved in
So
that?
that's an interesting question, actually, because so over here I'll give you a bit of a picture of the whole situation, because I suppose it's a bit of a different some not every country has the same need for recruitment companies to be involved in the education system. But here in England, there's a big demand for teachers. So there's a big it's a big part of the system is how we find teachers. So we have another part of our company deal with UK-based teachers, and obviously, as I say, we deal with the international side of things. So there's a big demand for that. But how I actually got into it, my father, it's actually been almost passed down through the generations. So my father was one of the first people to ever come to Jamaica to recruit teachers, and he came to Jamaica for probably about 15 years, every single year, and has helped actually I would think in the thousands, hundreds and hundreds of Jamaican teachers to find positions. So he, as I say, he worked for a couple of different companies to bring teachers from Jamaica over. So I was introduced to it through him. So I went to, originally I was working for a company that was his company. He's now retired and he's enjoying sunnier climates in Greece. So he's retired. So we've then moved on from there and started our own business. So it's a family run business, to be honest. So it's come, as I say, my dad was the person who introduced to it, and it's now myself and my brother that run ICANN. So we, as I say, we're introduced to it through my father. Yeah.
Through your father. Okay, so I guess I have to speak to your father because I'd love to go to Santorini in Greece. Okay.
Absolutely. I'll get him in touch for sure. And he always how I was introduced to, so one of the first times I ever was introduced to the recruitment industry was I was still in university studying, and I went to meet my father in London, and he had at the time they'd done a big recruitment drive with Jamaican teachers. So the first time I ever knew anything about education recruitment, I met, I think it was about 35 Jamaican teachers who'd been recruited. So we were chatting away, and that's how I was introduced to it. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So the next question for you then is, I wanted to give you the floor also to give us a bit of background with your company. When did it start? You said it started with your father. How many teachers do you currently have on board? Which school districts do you go into to, place these teachers, etc.? So give us a general look at your company.
Yeah, absolutely. So our company, it started in 2016. So we had a company, to give you the full picture, we had a company which is still part of our business, which is called Dunbar Education. That is a UK based company that recruits UK teachers into UK schools and did a little bit of overseas stuff. Now what we realized was that it's there's so much involved with relocating to England that we actually wanted to set up a separate company and a separate team that solely work with people who were relocating internationally, because it's such a different thing. In England, if we find a teacher a job, normally they live 5 miles from the job, they're changing one job for another, and it's very, very simple process. Whereas we know for teachers coming from overseas, coming from Jamaica, they need help and guidance with a lot more than that. They need, with the visa side of things, with all the paperwork side of things, but also where they might want to live, what the schools are like, all that detailed information. So we split things off to make sure that this division, ICANN Teach UK, had a real focus on and is totally dedicated to the overseas trained teachers. So in 2016 was when we started Dunbar Education, when our business started. I've been recruiting teachers since 2010, so 11 years of doing that in my former company, which was my father's company called Hourglass Education, which has been a very popular one with Jamaican teachers.
I've heard of it too. Yes.
Yeah. So that's who I worked for before. That was my dad's company. As I say, he's now retired. So 2016 was when we started, and it's only been in the last 2 years that we launched ICANN Teach UK, as I say, that's got that real focus. So so a long time involved, and this real dedicated division for the last 2 years. So, and in terms of what we do, so as I say, we recruit from all over the world. But in terms of jobs, the situation here in England is that there is a big demand for teachers. There's a lot of jobs available. So we have, at any one time, we may have 100 vacancies, 100 teaching vacancies.
Wow.
or even more.
And this is across the UK, right?
Across the UK. No, I say that is the vast majority are in England. So they're in England, opposed to Wales or Scotland. And the vast majority of those, again, are in the south of England. So the majority of those roles you'll find it will either be in London, or in the areas surrounding London. So that could be normally within a couple of hours of London. And that covers a real wide remit of types of areas. We get, as I say, the city itself, the outskirts of the city, towns, villages. I'm always very conscious when I speak to people from Jamaica, when I use the term rural. Our rural is slightly different to your rural, I think.
Yes.
So we have rural settings, but not quite as rural as yours. So we deal with every different type of area, and we deal with every different type of school as well. I'm really conscious when I speak to people from Jamaica and this is the absolute truth. We don't just recruit from overseas to schools that are in tough areas and challenging areas. We recruit for every different type of school. Some of the best schools here in the UK look for teachers from overseas. So yeah, that's what we do. All the positions that we recruit for are either their minimum of 1 year contract, and a lot of the time they're just initially just to get that year started, to get that position started. But almost all of them, 99% of the roles are actually permanent positions. So they'll give you the opportunity. It might start as a year, but that role after 1 year, it doesn't end. It will be extended, all going well. We help with the sponsorship. So we make sure that the schools we work with can help sponsor the teachers that need sponsorship. And perhaps we'll talk about this maybe a little bit down the line in some questions you got to ask me later. But the legislation here in the UK has changed slightly in the past, well, since January, making it actually easier than ever for Jamaican teachers to find positions here in England. So we can talk about that a little bit later on. But yeah, so we've got a really, really good team here, and our ethos and our principles come from not just helping people to find jobs, because that's a huge part of what we do, but a big part of it is the support process from the very beginning. Is teaching in England right for you? How can we help you answer the questions to establish that? And then where would be right for you? Which school would be right for you? How can we help you, support you? All those questions. And I often say to people as well when I'm speaking to them, everything that you need to do to come to England, you could do on your own in terms of paperwork and which bank account to open, which airport to fly into, where should I look for, all those things you can do. But we've already done it so many times that we can give you the shortcuts to make your life much easier.
All right. So just a quick tip for you guys. Remember, tell me where you're streaming from. Just say hi in the comment box and put any questions that you may need to ask Matt later on. Put some questions in the comments for us, because we're going to look at your questions afterwards.
We love questions.
Oh, yes. Okay, and thanks. Dr. Kelly is here from NCU. Dr. Kelly, I hope you're sharing this so that your NCU students can know about these opportunities. All right? All right. So, do you only recruit teachers? I know the name of the company is I Can Teach UK.
Yes,
but what if I'm not a teacher, but I'm a researcher, or I do something else,
I'm afraid for us it is, as I say, it's very, very specialist in that it is just teachers. So yeah, for us as a company, it is just teachers that we can help. As I say, we wanted to make sure that we do things properly and that we have the expertise to make sure we're what they say, inch wide but mile deep. So we have everything really, really detailed and all the processes in place. It is just teachers that we're able to help, I'm afraid.
All right. So which country do you recruit teachers from? I know you've mentioned Jamaica from time to time, but bear in mind that we do have a worldwide audience here. So it's not only Jamaicans that come and view us. So just give everyone else an opportunity to hear which other countries do you recruit teachers?
So we recruit from all around the world. So everywhere in the world. I mean, the truth is the majority of teachers we recruit from is the language is a very important part of it. So regardless of where you're from, if you're fluent in English, then it's much easier to find a position. So being English as the main language or one of your first languages is really, really important. Where we actually recruit from ourselves, in the main, we recruit a lot from Ireland, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, other countries in the Caribbean as well, absolutely. But yeah, it's one of the anywhere where English, anyone who is able to speak English as their first language will we can work with, or is comfortable and fluent in English. One of the main reasons we recruit a lot from Jamaica is that it's a British. The education system is based on the British system, so it's there's a lot of common ground and a lot of similarities. But like I say, in reality, any country that yeah has a whether they're able to speak English as a first language.
All right, so English speaking Caribbean teachers, if you're listening in, this is your time to put in your
Absolutely.
application. All right, persons that
Yes.
are coming in from, like you said, South Africa, all over the world, as long as you have your first or native language is English, then it is an easy process to get into the UK. Also remember, teachers, that Matt here may need teachers from different areas, and we're going to talk about that soon, right? The different subject areas that you're looking for these teachers to go in.
Yes.
It's a very important question that I want to take from the audience. Dr. Kelly is asking, even though you're asking for teachers, what about counselors, as in guidance counselors, educational psychologists? Are those persons?
No, I'm afraid
No, not really.
not through what we do. I'm afraid. So I'm not. If I'm totally honest, I'm not sure whether it's. I haven't heard of any other companies doing that for guidance counsellors or educational psychologists. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm honest. For us, it is just teachers. I'm afraid.
All right. So let us go now to the different subject areas that you're looking these teachers to fill. What are the
Yes.
subject areas you're looking?
So at the moment, it's across secondary. So we are beginning the process for the primary side of things as well, and that just happens a little bit later in the year. But at the moment, what we're doing heavily for September, and we're recruiting at the moment for positions for September, really, they are across pretty much all subjects within secondary. So the main subjects historically have been maths. And science, they are ones that are perhaps the most difficult to recruit for here in England at the moment. And in the past, this is something which I sort of briefly mentioned earlier. But in the past, it's been much easier to get a visa into the UK if you're a maths or a science teacher, because they're classed as shortage subjects, so they're easy to get a visa. But since Brexit, since England left the EU. Because immigration has will lessen from Europe, they've actually reduced, made it easier and simpler for other teachers to come into the UK. So whereas it was a bit more of a process for teachers of English or geography or any other subject, really, it's much simpler than it used to be. So in summary, to answer that question, we're recruiting for every single secondary subject that there is, with a focus still on your maths, English, science, but we've already in the past month or so, we've already helped teachers of English, maths, geography, food technology, all of those different subjects. We've already helped them to find Jamaican teachers to find positions in England.
All right. So I have another question here for you. Before we continue talking about different subject areas and what qualifications that they may need, etc., I want you to just stick a pin and tell us, why are you so focused on the Jamaican teachers? Tell us some success stories that you've had with recruiting Jamaican teachers, and why do you keep on coming back to the Caribbean? It's not only Jamaicans, maybe
absolutely.
Trinidadian and Asian teachers. Why do you keep on coming back to the Caribbean?
Yeah, I can happily answer that question. So I think, as I briefly mentioned earlier, I think the fact that the Jamaican education system is based on the British education system means that there's so many similarities. And I think obviously I think that it changed. I think it used to be, correct me if I'm wrong here, it used to be called GCE, and now it's the CSEC, where the students leave. So for us, that was our GCSEs, and now it's the CSEC. They're very similar, and I know that in Jamaica it's still called A levels, and we call it A levels. There's lots and lots of similarities in the structure of the education system, but also in the curriculum, the way that history is taught, the way that maths is taught, the way that the lessons are delivered, and the way that we teach are very similar. So it's even when we recruit teachers from other English-speaking countries, not all of them follow the British curriculum. Take, for example, if we recruit from Canada, there's, Canada again is the first language. It's a former Commonwealth country, but they have, it's the Canadian education system. It's very different. The Jamaican education system is more similar to the British one than any other country. So it's a smoother transition, and that works for. That's a benefit for the schools, because someone can come in and it's an easy transition, and it's a benefit for the teachers because it's not such a, there's not so much to take in when you first start. So that's a reason from sort of a practical point of view. the qualifications and the experience that we find from Jamaican teachers is fantastic. So obviously a lot of the people we work with, we're speaking to have lots and lots, probably more than anywhere in the world. I think that they're extremely well qualified. We find a lot of people we're speaking to have masters. A lot of people, because again, I know from my experience of working with Jamaican teachers, things have changed slightly over the years. Where back, a few years ago, you didn't necessarily have to have people would teach without a specific recognised teaching qualification. Then they may have a diploma, and then they may have. And as time's gone on, so we see a lot in the CV. Someone who had 5 years experience, then they got a diploma. Then a few years later, they got a Bachelor of Education. Then a few years later, they've got a Master's in Education. So qualifications are fantastic. Some of those subjects that we find notoriously difficult to recruit for here in England, as I say, the maths and sciences, there's such strong teachers in Jamaica. So that's a reason why it's great for us to be able to come and speak to candidates of such, teachers of such high quality. I think in terms of as well, sort of success stories, talking about on a general picture, we've got it's successful because people come from Jamaica. People have come to Jamaica. If you ignore education, people have come. England and Jamaica have got strong cultural links from going back for decades and decades. And so I think people from the Caribbean, they're welcomed into our country and they become part of our country. And I think there's lots of heritage and there's lots of. It's not just there's lots of people who've been who are from the Caribbean originally who've been in England for 50, 60 years, and it's beautiful to see. Yes. So it's a lot of people can come and forge themselves a new life in a new culture and a new everything, but there's still Jamaican grandparents who are here in England, and you can still go and get Jamaican cuisine and all those things that are from home you still get to have as well. So I think there's a lot of success in that, and that means that that people come and they enjoy living here. So that's on an overall picture. And if you talk about individual success stories, I think it's really important to talk about this, that Jamaican teachers come over here, and a lot of the time they come and they'll start as teachers, but they can progress. So there's Jamaican teachers here who've been here for 15, 20 years, and they've progressed into, they're now head teachers, and they're the ones who are doing the recruitment for the teachers, and they've moved into leadership positions. So it's a real success story. The sky is the limit. There's no barrier for where you can get to when you come over as a Jamaican teacher. And like we say, we've seen that from people who've progressed into, whether it's responsibility of the head of department or assistant head teacher, or all the way up to head teacher. We've seen those success stories, and it's great to see. And like I say, people come over and forge a life here. It's not just a case, and I don't want to speculate about other countries, because I'm sure people go from Jamaica to because I know a lot of teachers from Jamaica can go to Japan, or they can go to Asia and those countries to teach as well. From my experience, or my opinion, and someone will quite happily correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the time people come to England not just to teach, not just to live, but to create a life and can stay there for the foreseeable, and their children can be educated and grow and learn as well. So that's my view. And I think it's overall picture is a success story, and there's definitely individual ones as well.
All right. So guys, if you're looking at me, you can see that I can't stop smiling. This is good news. In a time when we watch news on television and all we're hearing is this sad story about coronavirus, isn't it great to hear something great? And it's lovely to hear how Matt is talking about how Jamaican teachers and Caribbean teachers on a whole go over to UK and excel in their field and do well and become productive citizens of another country. All right, so we're going to take a break now. Okay. Go ahead.
No. Take a break. It's time for a break. No, I was just going to say, I didn't know whether you wanted me to, and I'm happy to do it after the break if easier. If you wanted me to briefly discuss coronavirus in the UK and where we're at, and
I'm sure many people are going to be asking about that because we've been watching the news. But let me take a break. We're going to show an ad from I Can Teach UK. And then afterwards, we'll come back and resume our conversation. All right. Brilliant. So guys, stay tuned. And we are live with Venice. So stay tuned as we talk to Matt Brown from I Can Teach UK. Okay, welcome back, everyone. It is great. We are here. We are talking to Matt. And as usual, I say to everyone, put your questions in the comments. Say hi, hello. Say wagwan. Just pick up yourself in the comments so we know you're here and that you're engaging with us. Also, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, just share this video so teachers can know of this opportunity. All right, Matt. So let us go in the topic of coronavirus in the UK. We have seen the devastation that is going on around the world. Just give us some idea of what's going on now in the UK, especially with the vaccine, and
Yes.
how will this affect teachers if they decide to go?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's it's obviously something which we get asked about a lot, and something that's that needs to be talked about. So as you said, around the world there's been devastation, and here in England it's it's certainly had a huge impact, and the numbers and the statistics have not been great. In more positive news, it's the way things look at the moment with the vaccinations. We're thankfully at the right end of the chart with that now, and the right end of the list. So we're the vaccinations. I think the news was released on Sunday that over half of the adult population had now received their vaccinations, which I think is 25 million people plus, and it's rolling out. I think, and the most amount of people received their vaccinations in one day, I think, was about 600,000 people were vaccinated in one day. So the vaccination rollout is very, very successful at the moment. They believe that by the end of April, I think it is, that all adults, or I had to double check that, it's either April or May, that all adults will have been offered their first vaccination. So for us, the news that we get from schools, and obviously schools are intrinsically linked with the government, and the news that we're having is that, but by September, which is when the roles we're recruiting for start, things will be very much back to as long as things go as planned, back to normality. We're already back in the UK. We're back to 100% face-to-face teaching. Everything's in person now. The schools are back. The schools are open. We're as things stand, all of our schools are very, very confident that from recruiting from overseas is not going to be a problem. That everyone's going to be able to arrive safely and be vaccinated and start their positions with no problem.
All right, very good. Do you need to get the vaccination before you leave Jamaica?
I will
That's
have
just
to.
A question. I'm not sure if you know.
I'm going to have to check that, because it's ever changing. I'm going to have to find out whether you need to have had your vaccination before you arrive. I don't think that will be the case, but because I think that if you haven't had it and you come over and you've been granted a visa, you'll essentially be given the rights of you've got the rights to our National Health Service. You've got the rights to everything that a British citizen has. So I believe that if you haven't been vaccinated by the time you arrive, you could be vaccinated here in the UK. But I don't. I would need to just double check that. And as I say, with things changing all the time, but I think you'd be eligible to get that when you were here in the UK.
All right, great. So tell us now about the application process.
Yes.
What does that look like from step one through to the time you get through? What do we need to do? And, generally tell us what kind of documents we're going to need and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it starts quite informally, I would say. So the best thing for people to do, and I'll pass this on, is get in touch either via our website or emailing us directly, and just sending in your resume. The best thing to do is send in your resume, send in a brief, an email just with information about that you're interested in the program or anything additional we might want to know. From there, one of our team or myself personally will get in touch with you and set up an initial call. Now that initial call is not it's not an interview, it's a registration call. So as much as anything, it's for us to give you information about teaching in England to talk to you about it, tell you about what to expect, tell you about what is expected, and give you information about the whole process, and of course as well just ascertain suitability and what we think as well. So as long as that first call goes well and you're happy to go forward with the application, then we go to the next step from there. So what we would then do as well is we'll provide you with because again, probably important for me to mention, us as a company, we don't charge any money to find people jobs. It doesn't work like that in England. It's what the schools here in England pay us as a company to find them teachers. So it's you're never, we don't charge anything. It's completely free. But there is a cost associated to getting the visa. So that's the only cost. That's directly between the person applying and the government, so the money goes between the two. So what we normally do at that point is just send some information about what those costs are, just so it's upfront and there from the beginning. As I say, should the person sort of want to go forward from there, and we think that they're suitable to teach in the UK, we'll then arrange a second interview, and we have some really good technology that we are then able to record an interview. We'll ask 3 or 4 different questions, interview questions, and what that helps is to schools with your resumes, we're able to submit a video interview which brings that CV to life. So rather than just having a list of school names and duties and dates on there, we're able to submit a video which brings that person to life. And we see the percentage of success when we're able to submit that video along with the resume is greatly improved. So so that's sort of it from our side. So as I said earlier, those calls and those registration calls that we have with the teachers are for us to help you, give you information, answer your questions, tell you everything that you need to know, and for us to ascertain suitability moving forward. So once we've done that, what we start to do from then is let our schools know about the teachers that we have available, and vice versa. When we have jobs available, we'll then let the teachers know, or let the teachers know about those positions. So again, we'll try and give you as much information as possible to say, we have a school in this area, this school, this is where it's located, this is the principal's name, this is as much information as we can. And if the teacher then says, yeah, that's one I'm interested in, fantastic. We sorry, Venice, I meant to turn off my I did turn off my calls, but an email just popped up. But it was good news. A Jamaican teacher that I'm working with has just been interviewed this morning, and they've just been offered a job. So that's good news as we're on the line. Yeah, so that's good news. So from the next step from there is the interview process would be in the past, we have come over to Jamaica and held interviews in person, but obviously with things as the way they are, and to be honest, it works fine anyway with the way things are going. It will be a video interview. So those interviews can sometimes be they can be formal interviews where there might be a panel of 2 or 3 people, and they're asking a list of interview questions, and you talk through lessons and all those types of things. Or very often as well, there can be less formal situations where it's more of a conversation, with interview questions sort of thrown in as well. So it would be a video call with a principal, and that's it. More often than not, they would just be one-stage interviews where you're interviewed, given as much information as about the school, and then after that, you're either offered a position or not. So the next step from there, if the teachers are offered a position and they decide that they'd like to accept, then comes sort of the next stage of support, really, where we start to then let you know what you need to do. So in terms of the application process, it's from our point of view, the schools will need to have a police check from Jamaica. They will need to have what's called, and again, I can send all this information through, but there's something called here in the UK called NARIC, which is, and I'm challenging myself here, let me just grab the information up now, but it is the National Academic Recognition Information Center. And what that essentially means is you could go online and you would just fill in some information, and it will tell you, and it will come back with a certificate saying your Jamaican qualifications are equal to the UK qualifications. So that's all we need in terms of qualifications and your certificates. So that is all we would need actually from the school's point of view. And then we start with the visa application. And at that point, you'd start to need to be able to provide the documents that are required for that, and that includes bank statements and proof of identification and all those different types of things. And again, the police records. So those things come from the government, but it's a relatively simple process at least at that point.
All right. And how long does the entire process take?
Yeah, it doesn't. Sorry, I've just clicked off that. So it doesn't actually take too long. So what? In reality, we're recruiting, as I say, how it works here is a lot of the time it's in almost in waves, let's put it. So we're recruiting at the moment for September. Now, so the people who even the people we've helped to find roles already, they'll be starting in September. So they're getting their applications together, but slowly, without any particular rush, because they don't need to.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. Because they don't need to do things with a particular rush, and they will. The earliest you can apply for a visa to come to the UK is 3 months before your position starts. So the earliest that the people for September will be able to apply will be the end of May, the beginning of June for when they arrive. So in reality, the quickest you could do it is about 6 weeks. But and the fast and the slow, yeah. But it can happen. So applications have to go in on the 5th of every month, and a decision's made on the 15th. So it's that quick in terms of the news, and it can change. And there are some again, I can send some information through. There is some criteria in terms of amount of funds you need for your visa application. And it used to be that you had to have that amount in your bank account for 3 months. They've changed the rules now to 28 days. So again, that quickens up the process. So in reality, the amount, it depends. Again, I can happily send some information through. It depends on a lot of different things. It depends what you teach. If you teach maths and science, it's different. It depends if you're coming on your own. It depends if you're coming as a family, if you're coming with dependents. So again, it depends. But I've got a document I'll happily send through to either to yourself to forward on, or to post, or to anyone who'd like that as well. So yeah, that's it. So in reality, that for September, the latest we'll be recruiting would be June time. If it's not done by then, it'll be tough. But then again, we start again for things for January as well.
Okay. All right, guys. So one last question I have from myself is, what qualities are you looking for in these teachers? What kind of skills or competencies are you looking for in order to place these teachers?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think qualification wise, if we just talk about that first and foremost, so you'd need to have a degree. So that's a prerequisite to be a teacher in England at all. You'd need to have a degree and then a teaching qualification. So that, if that's a Bachelor of Education, then absolutely great. If that's a different degree, but then a teaching diploma as your teaching qualification, again, that's absolutely fine. But as long as you do have that degree as well as your teaching qualification. And in terms of personality or characteristics, it's engaging. It's the same as what you look for in any teacher. If you, it's your personality, Venice. We need people who are able to engage the class, who are able to captivate their audience and to bring some life and some personality. So it's people from all different backgrounds, all different. There's no one size fits all. It's people from everywhere, everything, every background and experience you can imagine. We have placed teachers who have had 20 years experience in Jamaica. We've placed teachers who have just qualified to teach this year. So the length of experience is not the main thing. But yeah, just that qualification, right. and then bringing your A game to the interview. That's the most important thing.
All right, and you said just now about the experience. So all the teachers must have some form of experience, or can I just graduate from college and land a job?
Yes,
how does that work?
You can. So you don't have to have experience in schools. We helped a teacher, an English teacher, Jamaican, who just qualified this year as a teacher. Graduated, and he's going to get his first job. Yeah. So no, that's not a problem.
So listen, Charter Teachers College, Michael Teachers College, University of the West Indies, UTech teachers, you teachers, you just graduating or you're looking to graduate this summer, come on. This is the perfect time to get on
Absolutely.
board, right? So no minimum experience. What?
No, exactly.
This sounds good, man. This sounds good. All right, so we're going to take now questions from the viewers. Candice Morgan. Hi, Candice. She's asking, what are the qualifications and do you sponsor teachers with their family? So we just went through the qualifications, Candice. I hope you were listening. But did you answer that question if you sponsor teachers with their families?
Yeah, so how it works here, the teacher would be sponsored. So the teacher would be sponsored. So
Okay.
let's say, for example, it was Candice. Candice would be sponsored, but she can then her family can then apply for their own dependent visas because of the fact that Candice would have her visa. So there's no limit to that. If you know on the number of children, it's only either your spouse or common law partner. So I think the criteria is you need to have lived together for X amount of time. I think it's 2 years that you need to have lived together for, and be able to evidence that. But you don't have to be legally married. And then your children, it just need to be under the age of 18, and you to be their guardian. So the only thing to consider with that, and again, I send this through, and I know we sort of alluded to that briefly earlier, is there is a cost for each person for their visa application, because everyone will have their own independent visa. But absolutely, if you get sponsored to be, if you're sponsored and you get a job, then your family can then come as part of that process.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Another person is saying this program only for teachers. Daniel Blake is. All right. Welcome, Risha from Barbados. All right. Tasha Lee's asking, do you get a chance to travel with children? Yes, you just said that. Yes, you get a chance to travel with your children. Are you recruiting primary trained teachers only for primary school? I think you mentioned secondary school.
I did secondary at the moment, but we expect primary just seems to happen a little bit later in the year. So we're hoping that by this time in April, we'll know a lot more about the primary side of things. But yeah, so please do still send your CV in, send your resume in, and we'll make sure to let anyone know as soon as that steps up.
All right. Another question I wanted to ask: I consider kindergarten to be under the primary school trained teachers. So if there's a kindergarten teacher, can she?
Yes,
apply?
absolutely. Yeah, yes, definitely. Yeah, that we class as primary. Yeah, for sure.
As long as they have the qualifications, it's fine, right?
Yes, exactly.
And somebody's asking, Lucarisha from Barbados is asking, what subject areas are you recruiting for? So based on what you said just now in our conversation, you said math, science, English. You've placed people in geography and food technology in the past.
Yeah, but
you have said that it spans across all subject areas.
Yes.
So no subject area is off limit. Are you placing people in the business education field?
Business study, yes, absolutely. So we have business studies, we would call it here, or economics or accounting. Yeah, definitely.
And what about IT or computer studies?
Yes, definitely. Computing here in the UK is classed as a shortage subject as well. So that's actually one of the ones that's in line with maths and science. So computing is a big one here. So yeah, everyone who's a computing teacher, confident with coding and etc. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Danielle Blake is asking, is the program limited to only persons with a teaching degree? So I think you went over that already. You said that a first degree in any subject area, but you must have a teacher's diploma along with that first degree, correct?
Yes, exactly. That's correct.
And if you do have education, that's fine. You don't need any extra diploma with that.
Oh, it just cut out slightly, Vince. Did you say if you have a Bachelor of Education?
Yes, if you have a Bachelor's of Education, you won't need any diploma.
No, that's correct.
Accompany that.
That's correct.
All right. Alisa is asking, how long does this program last for?
we're here forever, so we'll always be here to help people. So it's not just if that's what you mean, it's not just for this September. It will happen again next year and the following year. But in terms of the positions, I suppose I don't know if it's alluding to that. As I said earlier, normally they start as a 1-year contract, but they are permanent roles. So once you've been here 1 year, it will then go on to on and on. And another thing probably worth mentioning is once you've been in the UK for 5 years, as sponsored on a visa, you then have the right to apply for residency. So once you've been here for 5 years, you can apply to then stay here, and you'll no longer need sponsorship, and you can stay here for indefinitely.
Okay, excellent. All right, Alisa is asking what's the cost, and Matt already said that there's no costs.
No, just for the visa.
Apply? So I'm going to leave the contact. We're going to leave the contact information formats at the end of the program. So just hang on for that. People are asking, how do we apply? How do we website? And I'll put it in the banner below at closer to the end of our chat. All right. So Tamika King is asking, I have a degree in psychology. So do I need to get the diploma in teaching education in order to come along with that degree in psychology?
Yeah, you would do. You need
but
to.
What would she teach then? What would she teach with a degree in psychology?
I mean, psychology is here. We teach psychology, so psychology or sociology, social sciences, those subjects.
Right. Okay, great. So with Dr. Kelly can have her psychology students come on board, or her social work students, right? Because they can teach sociology also. Okay, so Dr. Kelly is asking, you mentioned children that come on this program should be under 18. Is age limit for it themselves?
No, absolutely not. So there's no limit. There's no age limit.
So if somebody's 80 years old, they can come on your program.
Well, technically, yeah. There's no age limit. If you're offered a job, as I said, if you bring the A game to the interview and you get the job, then there's no age limit. So yeah, we wouldn't put an age limit. Yeah.
All right, so no age discrimination here,
no,
guys.
Absolutely not.
Javon Daly is asking, what about physical education? Do you take on physical education teachers?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, all subjects. Being there are less of those positions than there are for perhaps the more English, math, science, the more classroom based. But we still do have those positions. So yeah, absolutely, still do get in touch.
All right, Andre Samuels is asking if I was a part of the Heart Train the Trainer program, will that qualify as a teacher qualification?
The best thing I can suggest is if you get in touch with me, send an email and I can have a look at that and just double check. So I don't know. I'd have to check against each qualification. So I'm not sure on that one.
Right. But based on my experience, Andre, I don't think it will qualify. You'll have to do a teacher's diploma or like a postgraduate diploma in education, things like that will allow you to qualify. Train the Trainer program, I don't think will qualify. But like Matt said, you can always email him and he can check. All right.
Yeah.
Erica Padmore is asking, after 2 years of staying in England to teach, do you have to return to Jamaica or do you have to stay in England? And I think you answered that, right? Yeah,
you can stay. So as I say, all the positions are permanent. So as long as everyone's happy with the agreement, the teachers would like to stay and the schools would like them to stay, then that will continue and you can stay there for the full 5 years and then apply for residency if you decide you want to stay. So yeah, you can stay in the UK throughout.
All right. Oxfam is asking, is a TEFL certificate a substitute for a teacher's diploma?
I'm afraid not. No. No. So no. It would need to be something related to the degree, TEFL or equivalent wouldn't be taught as a subject in England.
Right, because of course you guys basically, you guys are the originators of the English language. So, hey.
Yeah.
All right. Kimon is asking, is there recruitment for January as well? Yes. He
Yep.
mentioned that there is recruitment for January, and he will be taking those applications at the end of April, right? That's what you said?
Yeah. So, but again, if you want to get in touch now and just make a note that it's for January, then please still send your resume and we can we can
Right.
still be in touch.
Okay. Oxfam asking, what's the salary type like?
So again, it depends on experience. So as I mentioned earlier, we could have someone who's brand new, just graduated, or we could have someone who's 20 years into their teaching career. We also have
Right.
different salary bandings here in the UK. So if you live in London, you get paid more than if you live a long way from London. So it does
Side of
depend on
London.
that. So there is and I'll just grab the information up now. There is a pay scale, but in reality, I think that you're looking at, as I say, quite a wide range, but you're looking at, between 25,000 to 40,000 pounds, depending on experience and etc.
Okay, and that's for the year, correct?
Yes, for the year, yeah.
All right, so 25,000 to pounds per year.
40,000,
That's the range that you're looking for.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. All right, so everyone is asking for the contact information and for your website. So quickly give me your website so I can put it on the screen.
So it's www.ican-teachuk.com.
All right, simple and easy.
And that's what we try and make the process be.
We are going to put that there, correct? So we're going to put that there for a couple of seconds, and then I'm going to put up Matt's email address for you to email Matt. So quickly jot that down, guys. Remember, if you're on the call, if you're listening, viewing, wherever you are, just hit us up, say hi, hello, put your questions in the comments. And remember to like, subscribe, because this is not the only opportunity we are giving our teachers. We're giving teachers opportunities from across the world. So next week, I'm coming with another opportunity, and the week after that, and the week after that. So you want to be locked in with us. You want to be on this gravy train, because we are here handing out benefits, right? So subscribe, like, share, get your other teachers on board, and get teachers knowing about these opportunities that are here in 2021. All right, so I'm going to also put up now his email address. Take that down. Quickly jot that down. That's matt.brown@ican-teachuk.com. We say dash, not hyphen, but you know how it is.
Okay, dash. That's it. Perfect.
Okay, so interesting questions here. Hope T. Smith, that is not the website, Hope. You put the website in the comments, and that is not the website, my darling. Please take it down. That is not the website. I'm going to put the website up again. But if you look at the end of this email address, you'll see the website, right? ican-teachuk.com. Just put the www in front of that, and that's what it is, okay? So Hope Smith, please don't walk away with the wrong website, all right? Okay, additional questions are coming in. Oxfam is asking, what is the living cost like? And that's a very important question, because I've always heard that London is very expensive to live in.
Yeah, well, that's I would be lying if I didn't agree. So it's what I would say is for a teacher, it's a good job here, and the salaries are very, very comfortable. So it's we never ever get. I mean, lots of people ask that question from wherever they come from in the world. What's the cost of living? How will the salary compare? We never get people saying to us, I'm struggling to live wherever they're based on the salary that they get. So it's a comfortable, good salary to live from, and so as I said earlier, the cost of living is higher in London, but the salary is higher in London. And lots of the schools, yeah, exactly, and lots of the schools we work with are outside of London as well, where the cost of living is lower. So yeah, it's hard for me to say what the cost of living is like it's hard to sort of quantify that in some respects, but all I can say is the salaries that you get will certainly mean that you have a comfortable and good life.
All right. So you'll be comfortable, guys. You'll be able to travel, pay your bills, save your money, go back to school, do whatever you need to do without worrying. All right. Comfortable living. All right. Karen Daly, she's asking about science teacher. We talked about it, that science is one of the major subject areas that they're looking for, Carrie-Ann. So you can go ahead and hand in your resume at the emails down below on our screen. Oxfam is asking, is housing costs partially or fully covered by the school or the company?
It's not, I'm afraid. So it's that's something that comes out of your salary and what you're paid. So it's yeah, the housing is something which the cost is paid for by the teacher, but we can help you to try and find that and put you in touch with different. And a lot of time the schools know of accommodation close by or houses close by, so we can certainly help you to find it. But yeah, that cost would be down to the person.
All right. And Tashika is asking us to repeat when we can start applying. Listen,
today,
right now.
Yes,
what's the time in Jamaica? 10:59 a.m. right now, this minute.
Exactly.
Start sending out your emails. Start sending your resumes. Remember to review your resumes before you send them out, guys. Dust them off, yeah? Just don't send a general resume like that. Ensure that it's specific and ensure that it puts you in the best light possible, because remember, you're trying to get a job. All right?
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
right, I think that's it for the questions. Matt, do you have anything else to say to our teachers from around the world, not only Jamaican teachers, but Caribbean teachers and teachers worldwide? Any last minute thought?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Absolutely. So all I'd say is, we are here to answer your questions, here to help. Anything you need, then it's not too much, and we help you to make sure it's the right decision for you. But yeah, there's so many opportunities here, and yeah, we can't wait to hear from you.
All right. So we are grateful and thankful. Just put your thanks right down in the comments here. All right, before I go, we have one more question. Oxfam is asking, are you required to pay pension? What about a pension plan for teachers? That's a very important question.
Yes, so the pension here in England is two things. One, it's optional, so it's completely up to you whether you pay. And I'm just going to try and get the latest. I'm just going to try and get the latest information, but and I'll try and find the exact percentage there. But I think it's so it's optional. If you don't want to pay into your pension, that's absolutely fine. But schools pay. The pension here in the UK is very good. So I think that the schools will contribute 23% of your salary into your pension, and it's important to know that should you return to Jamaica, that pension doesn't disappear. You're still able, once you get to pensionable age, to withdraw from that. So even if you've gone back to Jamaica, you're still at that money. That money's still yours.
Still there. All right. Yep. Mrs. Ellis is asking, are teachers paid 12 months per year? I think it's monthly, correct? It's a monthly payment that's
monthly and across the whole year. Yeah. So it's for 12 months.
Right. And Oxfam is asking one last question that we're going to close off with. What is the turnover rate like for the program?
So does that, what exactly does Oxfam mean by that?
I think the person is asking what's your success rate with placing the teachers and the teachers staying long term?
So the
teachers sometimes the teachers start and then probably drop out along the way. So they're looking for that percent.
I would say from Jamaica, it's 95% of the people stay, because it's a very, very high success rate. I think that Jamaican people settle well into England. As I said, I know people from all around the world, but I'm speaking particularly in terms of Jamaica, the success rate is really, really high, and Jamaican teachers and people enjoy being in the UK, and all those similarities I talked about. So the success rate is very, very high.
All right. So I'm closing off with that. So thank you. Say thank you in the comments to Matt, because we all know that, opportunities are rare sometimes. And when we hear opportunities like this, we got to jump on board. So thank you, Matt. for
No
taking
worries.
time
Thank you
out.
for having me. It's been a pleasure.
We know
And
you're a
yeah,
busy man. You have your
never too busy.
companies.
And, and
You're doing your thing.
the one final thing I had to say, Venice, I forgot to say was that there is one other really important thing about the application process. I should have mentioned that when you arrive here in the UK, you have to bring some Jamaican coffee with you. Otherwise, you get turned away again for me. So that's part
So
of
you
the
have to come with
yeah,
something.
that's a big part of the process.
So
More important
you want
than the
your Blue Mountain
diploma,
coffee.
the Blue Mountain coffee. Exactly. Yeah.
Or you can get some ackee and sawfish for them. Don't worry
ah,
yourself. Don't worry yourself. Matt,
brilliant.
they
No
will
worries.
set you up good, man. They set you up good, man. They will come with their feet.
Brilliant. All right.
All
Well, lovely
right.
to speak to
So
you. All the best, everyone.
listen, as always, it was a pleasure. Great having Matt here on board. Like I said, guys, you need to get on this Live with Faith broadcast. We're going to be speaking to more persons next week about different opportunities that you get around the world, different opportunities that you can tap into. So go to my Facebook page, Venice Irving, and like and follow that page. On my subscribe to my YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel's the name is simply Venice Irving, and then you can just subscribe and share to other teachers across the world, because we're not only looking to help Jamaican teachers and local Caribbean teachers, we're also helping teachers from across the world. All right, so thank you to Matt. Thank you, viewers, for joining us, and keep it locked and tuned in for next week when I have another guest with another set of opportunities, resources for you to take advantage of and to use in your daily life to increase your lifestyle, to increase your career, to increase your finances. So keep it locked, and I'll see you next week, guys. Take care. Bye bye.